I'm going to do the best I can to let you know a little bit about me and how I got started. I guess I grew up like anybody else. I went to school every day. We listened to the radio, AM radio, and that was the hot thing back in the '60s. When I got to be about 17 or 18 years old, became able to travel into the city, started coming into New York, and started to find out that there was a lot more than just the radio music out there. There was a lot of other music out there. There were some clubs that we used to go to. One in particular that I liked was a place called the Electric Circus. It was down on St. Mark's Place and 2nd Avenue. It was a few blocks away from the old Fillmore East, which that you know what that was, I'm sure. Anybody that knows New York knows of the Fillmore East and the concerts they used to have down there. But I gravitated more toward the Electric Circus, which was more of a discotheque sound. It had an incredible light show, a really great sound system, and there were a couple of live bands there, but that wasn't the mainstay of the evening. It was dance music as prepared by a disc jockey. And back then, there was really no rhythm or rhyme to how they presented the music. A lot of the stuff they played was danceable, but it wasn't really presented in any format. It was just the records that people liked, that they liked. They would put on, and we would dance to them. And it was a great scene. It was kind of like the beginnings of the whole dance scene in New York.
I think all of us in our family have a profound love for music. I grew up listening to rock and roll, to the Beatles, to the Stones, to um, James Taylor, to Elton John. This is my brother playing all this pop rock, when I was growing up, and me getting a feel for melody, for good melodies from that music that came out of the 50s and 60s, and at the same time listening to my father play his guitar at home. When he came home from work, by himself in the living room, playing his guitar. Very beautiful melodies from Spain, from Puerto Rico. And the feel for melody, for a good tune, for something that makes you feel good, started, I was absorbing
You
the
get a
feel
great
for melody.
education. Yeah, great
Okay?
education.
So, in other words, there are DJs that want to be DJs because they like what DJs do. Play music, have good equipment, make people dance. But there are DJs in the business that play the music and would play it for nothing, for not even a penny, simply because they love what they're doing and they love connecting to people and touching people's lives. And they want, in other words, there's something coming out of that DJ behind that booth. There's a story.
He's a true artist, isn't it?
It's an artist. It's, and a true artist is not looking for money. It's looking to
Satisfy his soul.
satisfy the insecurities and doubts that are going on in his life, and using music as an expression to get that out.
We were 2 blocks away from Sigma Sound. We were a mile away from Alpha International. All the Philly artists were at the club, and when they wanted their records, they wanted them played there. So we would get so many advance copies and so many things to play. I had recently, with the age of Facebook and things like that, I had a guy say about a Travaris song that it was too commercial. And I had to write him back and saying, yes, it's commercial, it's 30 years or 40 years later, but when we had this record, it was 5 months before it was released. everybody for 5 months was trying to get this record. You know, yeah, it was commercial, and yeah, it was the time, but you couldn't get these records. We had stuff on tape, and we had acetates and things like that people would die for. You know, now today it's easy to say, yeah, it was a commercial record, but at the time, when you were breaking songs, we had them well in advance. As a Billboard reporter, as a record pool operator, as being connected with the studios. Nick Martinelli, Gene Leone, who still operates the studio. Johnny Luongo would come down. Jackie McCloy. I can't tell you enough about Jackie, and I'm sure Jackie will be a part of this segment as well. Huge musical knowledge and great friend, probably one of the nicest people in the business. You know, we were all Judy Weinstein. You know, Larry Levan. You know, everybody ran to the garage, but Larry would come to Philly. He loved Philly. He loved him and Billy Kennedy. They had such a close relationship. Yeah, Larry was down, just stay down 2-3 days at a time, hanging in Philly between Catacombs and the Second Story. He loved it. Sharon White. Sharon would come down. So I am really fortunate to have been around the giants in the business. I thought at some point I would be a vinyl purist. Love vinyl, love my 1200s, love my Bozak, really do it. I mean, I tell you, great stuff. If I had my druthers and I had a place that I could do that, I would have that segment. But I got to let you know the technology has moved, I believe, in the right direction. Now, I can get a lot of yays and nays on this one. But the fact is that I think one of the things that still kept me playing and still keeps me playing this day is you move forward. You move forward with the music. Yeah, the music's not the same today. It's a lot of electronic based as opposed to us having real musicians. I was very fortunate to be part of all these eras. But today is okay. It's fine. It's good. But you have to be open minded and be able to let this into your life.
I mean, on a national level, the guys that were really hot at the time, I was reading articles in the Wall Street Journal about these guys. I was reading articles even in Playboy magazine. I remember one in particular. It talked about the Jim Burgesses of the world and Bobby DJ Gudadaro and Tom Savarese. Those were three names that popped out, that were making such a big noise on a national level. In addition to even internationally, their names were being known, and it wasn't a day before we had the Twitter and Facebook and obviously and all of that sort of thing. So to really make noise in the industry back then was something to see, and they were the first real national superstar DJs. I think people of your era, people of the Francis Grasso era, the first generation, they made names in New York and in the bigger markets, but and they were legendary in those cities. But when these guys came to that next level, it started, I think, expanding beyond that. And so people like me coming from a place like Buffalo, I was hearing about, what they were doing, and it was so intriguing. My love for music started at a very young age. My aunts and uncles would tell me stories about how excited I would get at 3 years old waiting for the Beatles to come on the Ed Sullivan Show on Sunday night. And, my father was a musician. He was a saxophone player and a clarinet player. So I'm sure I have some of his passion for music in there as well. My girlfriend took me to a gay club, actually, because her cousins used to go there, Richard being one of them, and said, you should come and play for this crowd here because I think they'd be more open to your style of play. So I ended up going down at 18 years old and playing for a place called Menealsis, and it was probably one of the best things I ever did in terms of finding a crowd that I could really just kind of do whatever, as long as I presented it in a smart way. They were very open to what I had to say artistically. And so I had a lot of fun there. So a lot of my straight friends would come who were a little skeptical at first, like, what are you doing? And then they ended up coming and having a ball and really starting to say, this is really okay. And back in those days, straight folks didn't really, tend to go to gay clubs in the late 70s. It was more of a taboo type of a thing.